Hi y'all, how are ya? I am back to share a little more about my Everything's Better with Butter journal. That I actually have some of the ingredients that I use to make this journal to share with you. I had a lot of people comment on this and tell me how much they loved it, and I knew that I had more of these vintage boxes, but I wasn't sure exactly where they were or how many I had or anything like that. And when I was working on some other journals last week or the end of the week before, something like that, I actually found them and I thought, oh cool, I have some, I can share some, that would be so awesome. So what I've decided to do is put together some kits that include one of the boxes, but also some of the ingredients that I used in my Everything's Better with Butter journal. Some of it's similar, some of it isn't, some of it's just inspired by the butter box. And so again, there's 3 and they're basically the same with a few differences. And so I'll point those differences out after I've shown you what comes in the kit. So first thing you get, of course, is a box. And these were never used. When I found them, they came flat just like this, and they're quite dirty. Hopefully you can see this. Let me see if I can get the camera to, yeah, you see how dirty this is? Believe it or not, I've actually already buffed on it some and gotten the worst of the dirt off. But because this heavy, cardstock that the boxes are made out of, is completely embedded with wax, so everything sticks to this wax, right? I think this box is from the 50s. I'm not sure, maybe early 60s. If y'all are familiar with this, I would love to know if y'all know anything. I haven't done any research on this creamery or possibly how old these boxes are. I just know that they're not new. Okay, so heads up though, if you decide you're interested in one of these kits, first thing is you are going to have to use some elbow grease and get it clean. And all I did, and let me show you mine again, is I just used paper towel and I just buffed it. And for whatever reason, my camera is not wanting to focus. Sorry about that. Okay, if you can see, it's really, I hope the camera's picking this up. I got it perfectly clean. It's also very vibrant. All the colors are really bright and vibrant on the box. And before I buffed it with a paper towel, it started out looking just like this one. So the dirt on here definitely dulls the color a little bit. And then of course it's just gross, right? So all I did is use a paper towel, lightly buffed it. Some of the wax came off with the dirt, but it didn't take off all the wax or anything like that. So it's still quite waxy. Actually, it feels really nice once it's buffed and clean. It has a really nice, I like the way it feels anyway. One more thing though about this box, in case you're interested in one of these kits, is that you're not going to be able to glue any projects to this box because of that wax. At least I couldn't. I even tried some industrial glue just out of curiosity to see if I could get anything to stick to the wax. And no, I couldn't get anything to stick. So you're going to have to use some sort of a mechanical way to attach it. So I used my sewing machine and I stitched it to some heavy cardstock to make the cover. And then I made some tags too with the box. So, you know, those are the 3 sides of the box. 1, 2, 3. And then the 4th side right here, I made a tag. And I also made tags out of the top and bottom of the boxes. And all of those I used the sewing machine, and I just sewed paper, tracing paper or pattern, seamstress pattern making paper, whatever, just whatever paper you want, of course. But that's what I did in order to make the tags useful for me to be able to write on. So I just wanted to point that out in case you normally glue things, or you were interested in this box and you were hoping to glue it or something, you really can't. So it definitely needs to be some sort of mechanical way that you attach it to whatever project you're making. Okay, so each kit includes a butter box, and so let's talk about the other stuff that it includes. So each kit has textiles, vintage ephemera, more modern type ephemera, and then what I like to call just bits and bobs. Did I say that already? Bits and bobs. Okay, so let's start with the bits and bobs. So everybody's going to get 4 cards, 2 full-size cards. These are not new, but I don't think they're super old either, but they have a nice patina on them. I love the color of red, and they go really well with the box. And then 2 mini cards. These mini cards are not vintage, but they are, I did get them at a resale shop, so I didn't buy them new per se, but I don't think anybody had ever opened the box. So these are definitely new, not vintage, but they're tiny and they're cute. Then also get some other tiny things. So my favorite thing, I think, in this Bits and Bobs stack are these jewels. Well, they're really buttons, but I call them butter jewels because these buttons, they're plastic, but they have this facet on them, all these little bitty facets. It's like a jewel, and so they're yellow, and they're, I don't know, these are butter jewel buttons, y'all. I love these. These, and actually all these buttons came out of my stash that I've had, I don't know, I mean, they're not new, but they're, some of these buttons have been in my stash for probably 20 years or close to it. So they're not vintage, but they're definitely not brand new. So you get 2 of those, and then there's another faceted button that's blue and slightly larger than the yellow. And these would be great on paper clips or any kind of embellishments that you want to make, or these actually would be really pretty on a charm too because they're so jewel-like. And then these remind me of cherries. I love these. They're domed. I don't know if, let's see if you can see that. They're domed. And they're plastic, so you could, you know, do whatever. These would be great on paper clips again. You could actually stitch them or glue them onto something, like a card or something, and then actually make the stem and like leaves to make them look like cherries if you wanted. I don't know. I love them because they're happy red color and they go really well with the butter box. More buttons. There's a pearlized round button, a pearlized bow button, and then another bow button that's slightly larger in red. And then these mini, tiny mini buttons. There's 3. They're black. They're very small. I've used these on little doll clothes before. But you can glue these to make embellishments or sew them, whatever. They're just really fun and cute. Then the last button is the star button. I love the yellow star button. So fun. Then you get 3 key charms, 2 little keys and 1 larger key. And each kit will be slightly different, but everybody will get a larger key and 2 smaller keys with different metal finishes on them. You get a little heart paper clip. I love these paper clips. You get 3 red chips that look kind of like poker chips, but they're smaller. They came out of a vintage game that I have. I love using these like in charms and on embellishments or whatever. Same way with these. These are the heavy cardboard that came out of a bingo game. These are the markers that came out. I love this color blue. I mean, it looks really cute with this box. See, y'all? Love them. I mean, you could glue these on too and use these as tags on pages if you want. And then this little bitty clothespin. Love that. Use that as a paper clip is usually what I do with those. And then these are little price tags. I think they're from the 60s. I'm not really sure. I kind of have this obsession with price tags. So anytime I find them, I buy them. And these are actually plastic. So you can hear that. Hopefully you can hear that. I personally, what I do with these is I staple them into my journal and make tabs with them. But I mean, you could do anything. I've also punched holes in them and like use them as dangles on charms and things like that. If you do use them in that manner, I would kind of round the corners because the corners are pretty sharp since they're plastic. But anywho, you get 2 of those. I love these. Love, love, love them. Okay, and then more bits and bobs that are textile related. You get some Grosgain ribbon. It's a cream colored ribbon. Some cotton lace. Wider cotton lace. Some more narrow cotton lace. Like an edging. And then some green lace. A little piece of green lace that's super sweet. And looks super sweet with the box. And then the last little part of the textile bits and bobs, some of my hand spun yarn. I get really attached to my hand spun yarn because I spend so much time working with it. And I have, since I've been spinning a while, I end up with a lot of bits and bobs. I buy most of my wool directly from the farmer, so I process it from the raw form and then I dye it and then do all kinds of experiments, and a lot of times it'll just be in small you know, small amounts that I'm doing my experiments or whatever. So I end up with lots of, you know, stuff like this, little bee skeins that are just really not good for anything except little projects such as junk journals or gifts or whatever. So I love putting this on tags. Also, you can use it in charms, you know, just like you would use string or lace or whatever. All this hand spun is made from wool. The red, I think, is a mohair blend. I think. I can't remember though because it's been so long. Let's see if I can get this in focus. Sorry about this. Okay. Anyway, you get 4 pieces, a red and a pink, and then 2 colors of blue, a lighter and a darker blue, all inspired by the Butterbox. So the rest of the textiles here, they're all vintage except for one, and I'll point that out, which one isn't vintage. So everybody gets a little piece of crochet. Looks like the center of a doily that she had started. When I got these at an estate sale, and I got quite a large stack of them, so I'm not sure. I'm kind of thinking maybe she was going to do a bedspread, and this was like the center of the motif, or maybe a tablecloth or something. I don't know, but it's wonderful. It's a pretty fine crochet. It's not thread, but it's a pretty fine crochet thread that she used. Then you also get this vintage handkerchief, and I have a thing about vintage hankies too. Well, I guess anything vintage textile kind of gets me excited, but this one is a very fine tatted lace around the edges, and this is a very thin thread, like sewing thread that the woman used, and then it's all hand stitched onto this very fine fabric. I didn't launder these, and so you can see like some age spots, but it was quite apparent that these had been starched and then folded and put in a drawer or something. So they're clean, you know, and I just liked the aging on them, so I didn't do anything, but of course you could launder them if you want to. But everybody gets one just like that. They're all similar. And then this came out of a work basket that I had gotten at an estate sale. And so this lady had all kinds of things that she was repairing or, you know, going to make into something else, I'm assuming. And this was an apron. And I'm thinking this is from the 40s because this looks like bead sack material. It's awesome. I just cut it into as close to equal pieces as possible, so everybody gets a piece of this. This is also vintage. This came from a piece of children's clothing, like a little sunsuit. And I love using pieces like this because I can use it like a ribbon, like cut the edging off or leave the edging on and just use it like a ruffle on a page, you know, or the top of a tag or whatever. I love vintage clothes, especially children's clothes. So everybody gets a piece of that. This is also from a piece of children's clothing, little sunsuit. So you could cut the edging off of this if you want and use it like ribbon. This is a red, and those polka dots are actually dark navy. I don't know if that's actually going to be true on the, you know, what the camera's picking up, but that's a dark navy polka dot with white polka dots on that red. Again, it's a very fine, I think this is a lawn. It has a wonderful weave to it. I love this fabric. This is from the 60s, I believe. Really bright and vibrant and fun. And I just love all the pops of color. It's like a quilting cotton weight. This is from a children's, actually a little dress that belongs, a little girl's dress, cotton. It's like a quilting cotton weight too. It was hemmed, so you get to see the hand hemming on it. Everybody gets a piece of that red and white striped. And then this isn't vintage. This came out of my stash. I've had it for quite a while, you know, I don't know, like 4 or 5 years or something. So, I mean, it's not brand spanking new, but it's definitely modern. It's cotton quilting weight. I love it because it's just kind of old-fashioned and fun. And to me, it just goes really well with the Butterbox style and theme. It has really tiny little flowers all over a red background. Then the last piece of fabric is, I shared this a little bit on my butter journal video because I made some pockets out of this fabric, and these were window treatments that apparently a woman had, at least I'm assuming it was the wife in this house that I was at the estate sale, and she had made these. They were in bags and they had never been hung. They were window treatments that looked like they were for a kitchen or breakfast area. And inside the bags also had all the hanging hooks and stuff, like everything she needed to actually hang it. And they just were never hung. So this fabric is definitely, I'm thinking from the 50s, maybe early 60s, based on the color, style, and then the hook packaging and stuff. The age of it, that's what I'm guessing. But the fabric's basically brand new because it's been folded, starched in a bag for years. So everybody gets a piece of this. Has a sateen kind of finish on it. It's lovely. I love this fabric. And again, I used it to make pockets in my Everything's Better with Butter journal. Okay, next up is the modern paper ephemera. So everybody gets a piece of this mulberry paper. It's this really great blue that just goes so good with this box. Just makes all the colors pop. Love mulberry paper. Get a little piece of this heavy cardstock. This is the same cardstock I use to make my cover, and I'm including just a small piece for you to use in whatever project you want to do. It has a slight stripy pattern, like tone on tone red, and in case my camera's not picking this up, this red is like the perfect Christmas red to me. It's not orangey, so if it's looking orangey on your screen, it isn't. It's just this beautiful jewel tone red. Love it. So everybody gets a piece of that. Then these are wrapping paper samples. I have a big book that I picked up in a resale shop that's just all it is. You can see the back here. It's samples of wrapping paper from this wrapping paper company. And I pulled out pages that to me just really just inspired again by the butter box. I just pulled out papers that really spoke to me to go with this box. So everybody gets some polka dot paper that has a green background. This really great plaid. I love that one. It's like a modern plaid. Love that. And then a polka dot watercolor style. And then 3 solids. And they're actually not quite solid because I don't know if the camera's going to pick this up or not. But it's a slight stripe, tone on tone stripe as well, like a pinstripe. Red, yellow, blue. So it's just has a really good visual texture too. So even though it's solid, it's not really solid. If that makes sense. So everybody gets those. And then everybody gets a bag. This is also new. I got this at Daiso, the Japanese dollar store. I love Daiso. Oh my goodness. And they have such great paper bags. So everybody gets one of these paper bags. Everybody gets some of this hand-printed wrapping paper. It's green. It's really vibrant green. It goes really well with the box. It goes really well with the bag. There's a print on the front, and on the back it's just solid green. So it's really great for pages or whatever. I mean, I just love using that because it's also, by the way, it's heavier than regular wrapping paper. It's on a heavier type of paper. You also get this doily. This doily is not the kind of doily that is like a tissue paper doily. This is more like a heavy, it's almost cardstock. Well, I guess you would call that like a light card. So you could use this as a template, you know, and actually like trace around it. You could use it as a stencil and paint on it. You can cut it apart and use each piece as decorative elements on a page. Or you could actually fold it and cut it and make it, you know, use it as doily pages or whatever. I mean, it's endless what you could do with this doily. So everybody gets one of these. Everybody gets a piece of craft card. This is a light craft card weight of paper. Everybody has to have brown paper with a butter box. I don't know, it just goes together. And then this is also new, modern. I got this at a resale shop. I got a whole stack of this. So apparently some business printed these tags out kind of in a vintagey style. You know, that font and color and everything kind of looks 70s to me. It's printed on paper that has like speckles. It's a cream color paper and it has speckles. I don't know if the camera's picking that up, but it looks vintagey, y'all, like between the font and the colors and then the color of the paper. So these make really great tags. You can cut them apart and make some really cute vintage style tags. And then last but not least in the modern paper is a sheet of Japanese calligraphy paper. I also got this at the Japanese dollar store, Daiso. And if you're not familiar with this paper, it's similar to mulberry paper in that it has a very smooth satiny side that's almost slippery, and then the other side has a texture. However, the process of making this paper. You can write on either side. I've done it both ways, and it works equally as well. Some inks do bleed, so that you're going to have to do a test to make sure, but I've used a lot of different ones with great success. So the other thing I love about it is it's strong, super strong, and it's thinner than regular paper, so it's like tracing paper in a lot of ways because it's translucent. See, so you can actually put it over other things and actually see the image through. It's not quite as translucent as tracing paper, but it's very similar. It's a beautiful paper. Okay, so that's all the modern paper. Okay, so the last part of this kit includes vintage paper. And this is where really the changes or the differences between the three kits are, because since it is vintage paper, you know, and they're coming out of magazines and books, they're obviously not going to be identical. So what I'm going to do is walk through this whole part and then pull out the things out of Journal Kit 2 and 3 and show you what's different from Journal Kit 1. Okay, so Journal Kit 1, everybody gets this though. So everybody gets 2 of these booklets, and depending on your age and what you collect or whatever, you may or may not be familiar with S&H green stamps, and this is like a type of green stamp book. Back in the day, like this is from the 70s, but it started, I'm not sure when grocery stores started doing this, honestly. I think this one is from the 60s, and I'm not sure when it started, but I was a kid. I remember the S&H green stamps a lot, and looking at the style, this looks like this was from my childhood. Got this at a estate sale, and basically the booklets were, you would go to the grocery store, and every time you bought groceries, you would get stamps. And then you would get these books at the grocery store and fill up the books, and once the books were full, then you could redeem the books for goodies like that. So this book, she apparently just put stamps on the edge of every page, so they're double-sided. So you get stamps on this side, stamps on this side, which makes this edge really firm, y'all. It's like cardstock almost. So what I'm planning on doing, which I haven't done yet, but I'm planning on cutting apart these and using them as tabs in my journal. So that's what I'm going to do. Obviously, you can do whatever you want. And then if you use that part for something, then I was planning on using this in collaging because it just has a really great grid, and the font and everything, and the color. This is cheap paper, so it's yellowed quite a bit, even though it's not super old. Anyway, it's full though. So each of these stamp books, well, they're not full, but I mean, each page has a double-sided, you know, one row. So you've got, you know, a book full of that, and then you've got all this really great graphics to use however you want. This one is in full color. I love this one. Not only is the cover's, you know, really vibrant color, inside there's a ton of images. Each page, again, these are full. These have 3 stamps on every page, and each page has different graphics. Oh my goodness, y'all. It's so awesome. I adore these. I mean, you could use these graphics for so many different types of journals and other type of paper projects. They're all different themed, from shopping to fishing to childhood to shopping to marriage. I mean, it's just fun. They're super fun. The images are fun. The graphics are fun. And again, you get 3 of these stamps on every page. So, I mean, you could cut those out, and because they're back to back, just like on the other ones. See, they're back to back. You could actually cut these out and use these as tags, or you can put them on charms. I mean, there's so many things you could do with these, and then use these images for other things if you wanted. Or you could take these apart and actually use these as pages in your journal, which I'm also planning on doing. See, they're just stapled, so you could easily take this apart and keep the 2 pages intact and use them as pages. Anywho, super cool. I love these. You get a whole book of this too. Then here's where some of the changes are for each kit, and so I'll show you the different pages in a minute, but everybody gets 2 children's book pages with a grocery theme and out of a cookbook, a children's cookbook. So this is kit number 1, so this is the children's book page, and then this is the cookbook page, and the cookbook is it's a very heavy, nice, thick paper. really strong, so you could use that for all different types of things. Then everybody gets 4 of these cards. I don't know if y'all are familiar with these, but these, again, I think these are also from my childhood. It was basically a subscription program kind of thing, and every month you would get these recipe cards, and they go in this big plastic thing by topic. And so you get 4 of them. These make really great tags. I love using these for tags. So you get 4 of those. You also get some shorthand pages, and this obviously has nothing to do with butter or kitchen, but the reason why I love them, I actually use these in my butter journal. One, they're little, so they're really great for little journals. I like to fold them over and use them like pages like that, and I love it because it's just like the perfect background to start with, you know. I just love the style of shorthand. So you get 3 of those, and then you get, everybody's going to get the same number of cookbook pages from the same cookbooks, but of course there'll be different pages because I use the same cookbooks, you know what I mean? So this is like a little, I think this is Arm & Hammer, you know, booklet. Yeah, it is. Arm & Hammer, like a you know, cookbook booklet. So everybody gets 1 page out of that, which is actually, you know, 4 pages because I just pulled it out of the booklet. So everybody gets 1 of those. This came out of a Baker's Chocolate booklet, and it actually opens this way. So everybody gets 1 page out of that. And then this is a cookbook. Everybody gets 1 page out of this little tiny cookbook. And same with this. So here's, let's see, 1, 2, I don't even know. I can't remember. I just know I counted out and everybody got the same. So you get 3 from this cookbook. And I also tried to be very similar. So like if there were graphics from the cookbook, I tried to make sure that from everybody else's from the same cookbook had similar graphics, you know, or whatever. So you get 2 out of this cookbook. This is like one out of those church cookbooks, you know, where they would sell them to raise money or whatever. This is really fun. This is a Good Housekeeping cookbook from the late 40s, I believe. You get 2 of those. And then, oops, sorry, I hit the camera. Then this came out of a oven book. An oven, what's the word? Using your oven, you know, one of those books. How-to book. Manual, that's the word. A manual. So everybody gets 1 of those out of the same manual. This is pretty old. I think this is late 40s too, this cookbook. Look at the color of these pages. I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but it has such great patina on them. Great photographs. Here's some more out of another cookbook. Get 2 of those. Get some more out of this cookbook. Ton of cookbook pages. I mean, these are, I love using these as my pages in journals anyway. Love them. So you get 3 of those. And then here's, you know, I was talking about the graphics. So I try to, you know, of course they're all different, but I try to make them as similar as possible. So this cookbook has really great graphics with some color. This isn't old, really. This was published in 1980, and it's a Austin Symphony or something like that. They had put together a cookbook and sold it. And what I like about it is it's creamy color pages, and the pages are in really good shape, and I love to use these. So you get 1 sheet of that, which is actually, you know, intact because I took the book apart. So this came, there was a whole stack of these together stapled at an estate sale, and it was in one of her cookbooks that I bought. And she had it, they were all stapled. You can, if you can see the staple, see the staple hole, and then she had them folded in half like that in her cookbook. And so somebody, I don't know if this was friends that got together or what, but these are typed with lots of typos, which I love. And they were all stapled together. So obviously somebody typed them, and then somebody had them copied somewhere, and then they stapled them together. So everybody gets 1 sheet of this. And then this is gift wrap from the 70s. And I know it's from the 70s because these were all in their original packaging when I bought them. They'd never been used. And so I could see the copyright date, and these were all 70s. So these are all kitchen cooking related. This is a birthday wrapping paper. and a bridal shower wrapping paper with herbs on it, and a shower. I think it's just a bridal shower for someone special that's kitchen related. And then last but not least, and again, this is where it's going to differ in each kit, is this is an ad from a Life magazine anywhere from the late 60s to the early 70s, and it's all kitchen related. So this is an oven with the racing stripe. Is that not hilarious? GE's new J500XL goes from 0 to 350 in 250 seconds. I cracked up when I read this ad. Anyway, so everybody's going to get one, but it's all different, but it's all related to kitchen or cooking or something, and I will show you what those are. Okay, so kit number 2, let me show you what's a little different in this one. So the children's book pages, as I said, are all grocery, food kind of related, really grocery. This is out of a children's reader book from the 50s. This poem, though, is copyrighted 1927, but the book was from the 1950s. And then this is the children's cookbook page. Super cute. And then the thing that's different that I wanted to show you in kit number 2 is the ad from Life magazine. This is Frigidaire ad from the late 60s, I believe. There are those who remember when almost every electric refrigerator was a Frigidaire. Super cute. I love all the details in these old ads. Phone, remember those, y'all? Another note I just want to briefly say is that because this came out of a Life magazine, it's also, 40 plus years old. The pages started out thin, and so now they're older, thin paper. I wouldn't call it brittle, but it is thin, and so you'll probably want to reinforce it somehow if you're going to use it as an actual page, or if you're just, this would be really great for decoupage too, to actually glue onto something else. So, okay, so this is kit number 2. And then kit 3 is I can get to it. Oh goodness, where are the children's pages? I thought I had them on top. No, I didn't. Okay, they're there. Okay, so here's the children's book page and the cookbook page, children's cookbook page in kit 3. And then the ad from Life magazine is Special K. And this one is actually from 1972. It even has a copyright date down here from Life magazine. I remember my grandmother used to eat this cereal a lot in the 70s. Special K, high protein. So, yeah, so this is the ad you get in kit 3. So, there you go, 3 kits. And, yeah, so I hope you enjoy this. I hope, I hope it's something that would make you happy like it makes me happy. I love these butter boxes. I'm not sure where I'm going to list these for sale yet or anything when I'm making this video, so I'll definitely have whatever that information will be somewhere listed around this video below or wherever. Anyway, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me too. I'll be happy to answer it, and I hope you're having a great day. I'll see y'all later.